You're listening to the Beyond the Prophy podcast, where we help you out of career burnout so that you can reclaim your personal freedom while pursuing your passion. I'm your host, Jasmin Haley, entrepreneur, influencer, and educator that will help empower you with our interviews, strategies, and straight talks. If you're ready to push past your comfort zone to your greatness, you have found the right podcast. Stay tuned and listen in. This Beyond the Prophy episode is partly sponsored by Young Dental Innovations. Hey, this is your host, Jasmin Haley of the Beyond the Prophy podcast. And our guest for this episode is someone very, very dear to me who has had a huge impact in my professional and personal journey. And she came into my life when I was literally a hot mess. This is Naketa Thigpen. She is a licensed social worker. She's regarded as the #1 balance and relationship advisor in the world, and I can attest to that. She is the CEO of ThigPro Balance and Relationship Management Institute, a global personal development company headquartered in Philadelphia, PA, whoop, whoop, that is revivifying the industry. And let me tell you something. This amazing woman has taught me so much. One of the key things that she has done, she's ignited to activate others. She's the author of the personal transformation book, Selfish, Permission to Pause, Live, Love, and Laugh Your Way to Joy. She's a podcast host, a sought-after keynote speaker, wife, mother, and G-Bunny, grandmother for those that don't know what that is, who's been featured on the Lifestyle Channel and recipient of the NAACP Award as one of the 101 top influencers in Philadelphia, along with other notable awards and appearances. I can't say enough about how much I love this woman. Thank you, Naketa, for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Jasmin, for inviting me. I've been waiting to be on your show, so I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
You know, I've got to tell everyone, first of all, how you came into my life. It was in my opinion, I feel like it was a divine meeting, because I actually went out of my way to drive to Philadelphia to go to a conference that was not for dental professionals. Okay. These are like techie millennial people. What in the world was I doing there? Right. And I went there because there was a mutual friend, and she has a friend that lives in Philadelphia. She had a conference. I attended that. You were one of the speakers. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, oh, she is amazing. Right. So I knew of my event coordinator. Her name is Jamie. And we were talking, and she was like, you should really meet Naketa. And I was like, really? Like, I knew who that was. Like, oh my gosh. Like, like cool and everything. She was like, no, you should really meet with her. And she walked me up to you, and we met. And I remember, like, the first conversation I had with you, my first year of business was, I didn't know what in the world I was doing. I didn't have the confidence I needed to be who I am meant to be. I did not understand how to navigate being a wife, being a mother, and being a business owner. And you poured into me, Naketa, when I had nothing to give, literally. And
Jasmin, don't make me cry.
I'm serious. Don't make me cry. Shoot.
Mm-mm.
You poured into me when I was lost, and you gave me a foundation that will be a part of me for the rest of my life. I want you to know that everything that I achieve, regardless of who I work with or collaborate with, is because of you. A lot of it is because of you. Yes, God has blessed me in many ways with gifts, and I have had the opportunity to have the amazing experiences I've had, but you were instrumental on bridging that gap that we were just talking about for me. So you introduced me to many people like Natalie, and you just gave me a safe place, and I needed that. So when I tell you that as women, when we're building a business and we're striving to make our mark in the world, we have to take a look at ourselves in a holistic way. And that's what you do. You are phenomenal at that.
Aw, Thank you, Jasmin. My little bit of mascara is going to be all over my yellow skin. Like, what in the world? No, I'm, I'm silly, but I'm so honored by your truth. And I thank you for that. And I thank you for more than anything, just allowing me to be in that space of vulnerability with you, because those are my gifts. And I'm privileged with the opportunity to use them when people like you just sit back and allow, right? So thank you for allowing, because you could have been resistant and said, nope, I don't know you. I don't want to know you. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I'm just not ready for change. I don't want that kind of change. Or worse, that's not the change that I need right now in my life. So I'm very grateful for you. And as mutually respectful to the process of divine intervention as you are, I stand in agreement with that wholeheartedly, because each one reach one. We build together and we win together, and we are winning together. It doesn't matter who's doing what, who's more visible or whatever. When you are willing to be in a space where you can be vulnerable, you can be impactful. And because of that, we are winning together. So thank you for that as well.
Thank you. Naketa is an inspiration of lipstick, loops, and cupcakes. She's an originator, okay, of her of her coaching and cupcakes, and what she does for people, for high-level executive women and ambitious women that are out there. So listen, y'all need to put the kids away, do whatever y'all need to do, because you need to listen to the words that this woman has to say. So we're going to dive in.
Let's get it.
All the way in today. And we're going to talk about some of the work that you've done, because let me tell you something. Naketa was the first person I've ever seen in my life take a 6-week vacation and say, listen, y'all, you can email me all you want.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you got to do before I go on vacation. Because if you communicating while I am on vacation, I am not available.
That's so true. Boundaries.
Woo, child. Being a woman and setting boundaries is hard. You got your kids pulling at you. You got your husband or your partner, who you with, your boyfriend, whatever, pulling at you. You got, and especially as healthcare providers, you understand this. You got your patients pulling at you. You got your boss pulling at you. Mm-hmm. And then you just feel so defeated. You feel so defeated. So let's first dive into those boundaries. Absolutely. But also, like you say, this is one of yours, having that permission to pause, right?
Yes. Oh, I love you so much for being a part of the language. It's so important. We were joking off camera, guys, about I use the B word a lot for boundaries, right? Partially because I'm the minister that gets kicked out of churches. So I like to say things that are very Naketa, but also very controversial, like, what, B? But I'm talking about boundaries, right? But it sounds like I'm going somewhere else with it. Like, that's why you keep getting kicked out of churches, Naketa. Like, this is what happens. Boundaries are so key. Like, for us, just to back up for a second, for me, like, I've been known in a lot of circles as like the balance lady, the queen of balance, all that kind of good stuff. Balance in relationships is my jam all day long. And for me, balance is not 50-50, right? Like, it's not about 50% you, 50% me, 50% work, 50% life. Partially because you have so many other things that don't qualify as just life or just work. There's so much crossover, especially when you're in the healthcare space. And that's the space that I was groomed in. I came from trauma and informed care and emergency rooms and special delivery unit and endocrinology and all of that stuff. So we get it. Not everything feels just like hardcore work or hardcore life. Your balance is literally admitting your truth of what you want over the boundaries that you create so you can achieve the realities of that truth and keep the distractions out. That's all it is. It is a formula. Look at it as math. 1 divided by 5. Like, just look at it that way. The 1 is your truth. Admit what you want, not what you need. We need lights, we need safety, we need food, we need sex. Like, you need certain things, but you want, adoring love and passionate intimacy. You want to not have to worry about what bill is being paid today. Like, you want to be able to be impactful. There are things that you want, not just what you need. And then those boundaries are the things you do to literally achieve your truth. So if my truth is I'm a billionaire in the making, then the boundaries that I create need to represent that truth, right? Because I'm speaking life to, I'm a billionaire, not just because of money, but because I'm a philanthropist, I'm an investor. Those are the things that I want to be at a higher level than I already am. Maybe I'm doing it really, really small now because that's just what my resources look like in my reality, but I want to play on a bigger, deeper, greater field. So my boundaries are, Jazz, you are doing this amazing conference in another 4 months, another 5 months. I will not be able to attend that because I'm at an investor's camp, or because I'm working on my business and not just in my business, or maybe because I have 5 recitals back to back with my kids, which is the priority that I need to be at, because there's certain times of the year or the week that I can't do that, right? So what do I do for Jazz as a friend of mine, as someone that I care about? I send other people to her conference. There are ways for you to show up and have your no feel really good, but you still, yes, participate with your friend, your lover, your partner, your sister, your mama, whoever, in a different way. And we can apply that personally too. Like, how many of you are invited to baby showers and weddings, or the third wedding, and everything else? That comes up, right? Especially, over 30, over 40, it starts to be multiple situations that are happening. And I want to be there. My heart is with you, but my priority, because it's reflective of my truth, is that I will not that I can't, but I will not. I am choosing not to be there, but I can show up for you in other ways and not feel like the disappearing cousin or the disappearing friend. Like, no, you having a conference, 5 emails to, X number of people. Hey, friend Jasmin, doing this, be there. If I got to gift you a seat because this is something you need to do, this is the way that I can show up for my friend in business. Oh, baby shower, wedding, can't be there. Something that's not even on your registry, but I know enough about you to know you would love this. Let me send that to you. Maybe it's an experience, a restaurant coupon or something, versus just some more wine glasses. Like, there's other ways for you to still feel good about your boundaries and not feel like you have to feel the weight of all the guilt of saying no all the time. Does that make sense?
Yes. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we put ourselves in situations, and I'm one of them, where we feeling that guilt of saying no, right? Mm-hmm. We're not choosing what's best for us. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the key things is, as I was thinking as you were talking, is that one of the biggest things in my journey and with coaching with you was establishing that confidence. Because you've got to have some confidence in yourself and also some self-worth. I remember one time there was a conversation we had with each other, and it was a conversation in regards to charging. Mm-hmm. And you broke it down. Like, you didn't hold back. Like, it was a self-worth issue for me. It was a self-worth issue. It's that I didn't value myself enough to have those difficult conversations, because for me it was difficult,
right?
And ask for that. And I think that we don't value ourselves enough to establish those boundaries and to choose what's best for us. As women, we struggle with that. And it's hard. It's really hard.
And I will piggyback off the fact that the reality is I could speak to that because I've been through that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a clinical social worker by foundation, and I'm so extremely proud of all the work that I put in to get that, and the postdoctorate degrees and everything else that followed after that. But I wasn't taught, to ask for what I want. It was, how can we find a workaround for everything? Everything, as a social worker, everything is a resourceful workaround. That's all it is, right? Like, how can I make sure this person doesn't have to go home and sleep on a mattress? How can we get them some clothes and some this? And, medically, how can I get them the right durable equipment that they need to be able to get into the house if they can't walk? And, just all those different things. So I went through it too. I went through having to go from making, 40, 50, and 60 some $1,000s a year gross. So we're not talking about what my take home was after medical benefits and taxes and everything else. Going from that to being able to now say, like, no, one-on-one coaching with me and an intimacy amplifier is $45,000 a year for one-on-one coaching. And group is this, and masterminds are that, and, everything in between. And, event experiences, because you and I both do experiences. We don't just do events. those experiences, those tickets, you know, on a good day, because you're a part of the circle already, are $600. But if you're not a part of the circle, they're well over $1,200. Like, how do you move from that space to this one? And it was part of my work journey as well. Like, I had to step into that and do the work, just like you invested in yourself with time, energy, and resources to do the work in the incubated space that we created. Other people have to be willing to do the work too, and not put up the front of, you know, oh, I don't have no issues asking for money. I had someone recently tell me that. I don't have any issues. I come from network marketing. I'm used to that. You know, that's their issue if they don't want the product. But network marketing, which is fine if that's how you make your money, is very different than it is now your brand. Because they're not just rejecting the product or the service of that company that you have created a micro business under, which is fine if that's how you choose to make your dollars. You know, there's a lot of great products through network marketing. But now when they reject FigPro, well, FigPro is from Thigpen, right? Like, it's from Naketa Thigpen. So if you say, I don't like this product or this service, or I didn't like how this showed up for me or what worked, it is very easy for me to internalize that and absorb that as something that I did wrong, and that I am not good enough, and maybe I am not worthy to provide this service or this thing. And then I could start saying, oh, well, maybe I should just charge $100 a program or an hour or whatever it is.
Or give it for free.
Or give it for free.
You know, sometimes we do that.
Exactly.
Over and over again. Like,
exactly.
It's beyond just providing, like, we all have things that we donate our time to.
Of course.
You know, that's okay. But when you do it repetitively where it harms yourself,
that's a problem.
Oh, child.
And the reality is, we can't, as women in business, when you have a business and not a hobby, right? And I get that we all came into our businesses because we wanted to help. We want to help, period, point blank. There's no question about that. And if you have a business and you don't want to help, you probably shouldn't be in business, right? Like, you created a product or service because you want to help people use that to do something they couldn't do before, as efficiently, at least, without your product or service, right? Because of that, we can't keep creating these service and products for people, this time that's coming from us pulling away from our family, and then claim that we feel really good doing it. And, oh, I just feel really good helping, when your family doesn't see you because you're out doing all of this. Your family is sacrificing because they're trying to rub two nickels together, because your time away from a traditional overtime job or traditional second job or whatever it is that you could be, you know, trading hours for dollars with, you can't do that because mommy is over here helping all these people. And you feel really good while you're doing it, but then you go back home to, oh, I can't send my child to that second, you know, program she wanted to do, or put her in that honor society, or we don't have the time to pay for Ubers or whatever it is, or Instacart for grocery delivery. Well, how unfair is that for your family? And how unbalanced is that? Because the truth of you helping people is not being reflected in the boundaries you're creating, because you're not serving people in a way that you are literally able to charge your worth. When I sell you something, I'm serving you. I'm serving you because I will show up even the harder, even the more, knowing that I am getting something that can help my family live our best life, so that I can show up even greater. So it's, you know, it's part of that, you know, taking it back to the M word, that mindset of everything. And a lot of us just have to do a lot of work with it. And part of it is to back up and give yourself permission to pause, so you can say, wait a minute, what is out of alignment here? That's what my 6-week self-lovecation is about. Every year, I want to back up because I'm growing. I'm always open to learning. I always want to be my best self. I make mistakes every day. I'm a balance guru because I'm constantly balancing. I'm constantly, you know, figuring out another challenge. My youngest and my grandson, were just in the hospital in the same week 2 weeks ago, at 2 different hospitals for different reasons, for a week each. And we still had to close deals and write proposals and finish things and delegate. I still had to do what I needed to do. And I had to create a space for me to be able to do that effectively without feeling like I was torn when she sleep with the IV drip in her and the constant 20-minute, you know, blood test and everything else coming in, and wishing my heart was over at the other Peds hospital with a, you know, with doing that. But I was able to create a space where I can feel really good about being here because I've been charging my worth. I can be okay for those 2 weeks, but I still have to reflect back, which is why I do that 6-week kind of self-lovecation, is to love on me and to listen to what I want. Last year, I wanted something very different than what I want this year. And I'm okay with that because, as you said so eloquently, Jasmin, I think it was before we started recording, it's all about evolution. Like, you're evolving, and there's nothing wrong from saying, you know what? I mastered that. I was dope at that. I really love that, but I'm not in love with that anymore. And there is a difference, right?
Yes. And that was one of the things that I've learned from you is it's okay to evolve and say, hey, it's not working. One of the key things I actually just talked about this week from Straight Talk was about the fact that when things aren't serving you anymore, letting it go. And honestly, the feelings that came at the very beginning of it immediately was a mindset of, oh my gosh, I'm a failure because I'm letting this go and I'm not really following through, or I'm canceling this event because no one's really showing up.
Right.
What's the lesson learned here in this situation? I was like, oh, stop, Jasmin. You're not a failure. You need to stop for a second. What can you do with this? So for instance, I canceled my retreat that I was having and May 3rd through 5th. I'm fine with that. Why? Because I switched over the photographer into, instead of doing event photography, we're doing a family photo shoot on the beach, and my family and I are going for that weekend.
Yeah.
So even though I didn't get the sign up saying, yes, I invested this, lots of money. Okay.
Yeah.
To plan the event and to get everything ready for it. It was still a learning lesson for me on what I can do differently, but I'm taking the time to enjoy my family in that process. And I think that was one of the hardest things, is to understand, like, when you involve there's things you're going to have to let go. If you want to grow, you have to let certain things go. And that may be this misconception that everything's got to be perfect, or things that you've got going on that aren't serving you need to stay in your life. That's people, places, and think. People.
Highlight that. Come on, underscore.
People. Places and things.
Absolutely, 1,000%. There is the releasing out so that you can allow in, right? Like, you have to release some things. I just posted, I don't know if you saw it, Jasmin, on Instagram. And for those of you who are not following, it's Ask Naketa on Instagram. My cousin had posted this black and white, you know how they do the white words on black background text. And I don't want to misquote, but it says something to the account of, oh God, I hate when I can't remember it exactly, but it says something about, no hard feelings. I've changed, and there is a difference, like something like that. And I feel like I'm saying it wrong, so I'm gonna pull it up right now because I
know what you're talking about, because
you know what I'm talking.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, please read it.
I'm pulling it up right now. Here it is. No hard feelings, just changed feelings. There is a difference. And I think that that's really valuable for people who have outgrown, certain people that might have been a part of their circle 6 months ago, 4 months ago, or last year. And I wrote a whole little soliloquy because I'm very verbal. If you guys haven't picked that up by now, I'm very verbal. And if it's a cold day, I'm extra verbal because I'm in my blanket and I'm really going in, right? But I wrote a whole thing that's on our Instagram, you can follow, where I was basically saying, like, it's a reminder to me when I read that. And I have everyone in my circle belongs there now, and I feel so good about it. And I've had to let people go as recent as last year. Like, it wasn't, this is at the time of the recordings, the top of 2019. And I had to let people go that I thought would be there forever, right? Like, I thought that these people would be, but as you're growing, and it doesn't mean that they're bad people. They're just not supposed to go with you forward. There is a gracious way of letting people go, that we're driving with you, and then you get to a stop sign and you realize that as you were going through the last few stops, the road just got bumpier and bumpier. You got to let go some of the weight. And it's okay. Let them get out so they can get in somebody else's car. Or maybe you're letting them out so they can finally drive their own. Like, maybe it's a good reason that you're letting them out. People, places, and things. And I think it's important for all of us to know that some of those people will be with you since first grade, since third grade, since ninth grade. I have people that fit in all categories. I have people that are definitely ride or die that I met 6 years ago. And there are people that I let go that I met 6 years ago or 5 years ago or 3 years ago or whatever the case is. And you have to be okay with it. No hard feelings. We just change. We, as Michelle Obama says all the time, are constantly becoming. And we have to be okay with that. And that doesn't mean, have hard feelings or be angry about everything. It is literally perfectly stated by Jasmin Haley, let it go. There was a song that I was trying to bring up that I hate when I can't remember the name of someone. It's a little cute guy. The song is called Let It Go. And it is, I want to say his name correctly, James Bay. And I think the album is called Chaos and the Calm. So when you have a chance on your Spotify, wherever it is you listen to music, pull up Let It Go by James Bay. It is a perfect song. He's talking to a girlfriend about, you do you and I do me. Because at this point, it ain't working no more. And we just need to keep it moving. And you can apply it to business, to clients, to power partners, strategic partners, JV partners. You can apply it across. If you're in a career and you realize that this career is at a stopping point for you, you've hit your ceiling, doesn't have to be their ceiling, but you hit your ceiling, let it go. And I think it's a really good song to kind of motivate you.
Yeah, I love that. One of the hardest things, though, I would say for personalities like myself, is when you want to control every single aspect that happens in your life. And I have seen countless of times when I've let it go, these opportunities that I didn't even think were present, come my way. And it's every single time, without fail, it happens. And so a lot of the blessings that could be in our life, and I want the listeners to really hear this, it may not be so-and-so or X, Y, and Z as the reason why these blessings aren't coming to your life. It could be you. You the problem. And there's so many times that we self-sabotage or we let fear, as Elizabeth Gilbert talks about in her book, drive the car. Fear is driving it. Like, they can be a passenger, they can be in the back seat. It does show up in our lives, but are they in that driving seat? And a lot of times we do it to ourselves constantly.
I 1,000% agree. And that's where that pause comes in, right? Like, if you're so busy being full speed ahead and just going, productive, with the glue of busy in between, because all busy ain't productive, we know that. But, that glue, right? That glue of busy is in between the productive, making us feel like we got so much going on, so much more than maybe it really is. Showing up for us. If that's what we're doing, then there's a lot of things that we're purposefully able to hide from. And we can hide from the fact that fear is driving that car, because as far as we're moving, we're grooving, we're going, we're picking up people, places, and things along the way. So in your mind, it's all good. But the reality is you're not driving. The love that you were created from, and I mean that from a spiritual space, not necessarily from your fleshly, earthly parents, but the love that you were created from is not driving that car. And it always should be, because that is your purpose space. Right? We're all out here, where's my purpose? It's in there. But you got to excavate through all that chaos and confusion and that damage and those trust issues and the hurt and that pain and the guilt and the shame and the worthlessness and all of that stuff that's there. You got to excavate it to get to it. And some of the way that we do that is often by just being curious. Be curious about your interior design skill that you have, right? Or that talent that you have. Do you have to turn it into an empire? Not necessarily, but maybe play with it a little bit more. That curiosity is like a chisel that helps you excavate a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. You're thinking about writing a book, but you're trying to figure out how you can make money off of it. Don't worry about the money for the book right now. How about just write a chapter? Just see where it goes. Excavation. Like, that's all it is you're digging and getting closer. And for some people that shows up in maybe the multiple businesses that they've had, the multiple passion projects that they've participated with, playing with. For some people, it literally is a hobby, but be okay with being curious while you're doing that excavation to get closer and closer to that real thing that's underneath of that. Now, for someone like Jasmin and I who have had businesses for a while, some of that excavation comes up in the different programs that we've created. Like, I'm really interested in this, and I really want to do, like, one of mine was the Dreamer's Blueprint. I was so excited about the Dreamer's Blueprint. I seeded it maybe 5 years ago, sat on it for various different reasons. I was too busy for this because the car was moving. I wasn't driving, but the car was moving, so I felt productive. And by the time I actually put it in the front seat with me and put it on my lap, I wasn't even passionate about it anymore. Now, the blueprint itself was still relevant. It was still good. It was still great stuff in there. But Naketa was no longer connected to it in that way. And I had to be honest with myself. Jasmin, what was that, 90 days or 4 months in? I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I was just like, yeah, this was great. I loved you guys. Thank you for showing up. I hope you got everything you needed. But I'm kind of over it. And I had to learn how to quit, right? Like, okay, I'm going to quit at that particular program because it was part of the excavation. Now, I already know what my purpose is, but I was trying to see how deep rooted it is and where else it was taking me, because your purpose will take you further than any human could ever show you where you're going. Yes. And I was so curious about, where was the next step, that I thought, even though it was something old that kind of, passed me by, good stuff, evergreen stuff that is applicable, that I just kind of wasn't connected to. I thought, well, maybe that's what I need to do. And I heard the calling of the Joy Mat Method. I heard the calling of the Closing the Love Gap Mini Retreat. I heard the calling of the Intimacy Advantage. I heard it all, but I was like, no, I got to do this first. I held the expectation on me, that private expectation that I must do something that was seeded years ago before I could move on, when the reality is, that seed had already been plucked and blown away because I didn't act on it at the time it was given. Period.
That's powerful. That is powerful. But you know what? That shows me that, hey, it is okay for me to make a decision in the midst of when I have the strongest calling for it, and not to wait too long. Act now. And I love the fact that you said, if you have a desire to write a book, don't worry about where the money's going to come from. Write the first chapter. Right. Oh man, that is powerful. That is powerful. So right now you have the Joy Mat Method. Tell me the name of, that's your coaching program. Tell me the name of your retreat again.
Closing the Love Gap.
Closing the Love Gap. And you mentioned a third one.
So Closing the Love Gap is the higher level of what the Intimacy Advantage paradigm is all about, and applying that intimacy 360 from the boardroom to the bedroom to increasing your clients and being able to retain them, as well as the top talent if you're at that level in your business where you're now hiring people and you don't want to have to go through that hire fire cycle, because it wastes a lot of money and a lot of time, and you can use the principles of intimacy across the board.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I love about the work that you do. When you look at your title, the balance of relationship, and then let me see, I'll look some keywords here: selfish, permission to pause, live, love, and laugh your way to joy. All of these things really take a holistic approach to how we need to be carrying on our personal and professional life. Cut it out, y'all. Stop trying to just do one aspect. It's not working. There's too many of us disgruntled. And Naketa has worked with more than one dental professional.
Right.
We got some issues, okay? And we cannot do this anymore without taking that level of taking a look at ourselves professionally and personally. All right, so let me ask you our last question. Last question. What was the best personal or career advice you've ever received?
Oh, that is a really good one. I get so much good stuff, and as well as from all of you guys. So, the best personal or professional. I'm going to say, and we kind of already said it here, but I think the very best was charge your worth. That was the best thing. And obviously there's layers to that within context, but don't be afraid, specifically when I think about the person who said it, is don't be afraid to charge your worth. That was the best advice.
I love it. All right. So tell the listeners where they can find you.
Yeah, so if you are a social media person, connect with me across Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm at Ask Naketa, Naketa, very simple. But if you want to find out more about what we're doing in our workspace, go to figpro.com. And I'm sure all of the spelling will be on the show notes at the bottom of this. I won't spell that for you, but figpro.com is where you can find everything about the next Joy Map method, the next Closing the Gap Love Retreat, like all that good stuff. And there's a lot of things we do in-house that you'll just never know unless you come into the community and really participate. And then we start to release things to you. So we're one of those brands that like to keep the community tight, right?
Yes.
Tight and right.
Yes, and absolutely. And I can't tell you, I've just given you a small look at what she's meant to me, and the other professionals, dental professionals I know that have gone through her program feel exactly the same way. So you have got to check out her podcast, check her out. Maybe she'll pop up at one of my events. I don't know. You know, she was there last year for our Think Beyond the Prophy conference, and it's something you don't want to miss, getting a chance to learn from Naketa. So thank you so much for being on the show. It's such an honor.
Thank you. I had an amazing time. I know the conversation won't end when we stop recording, so I'm excited. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to the show. We value each and every one of you. Dive in deeper by visiting the show notes for this episode or listening to more episodes on beyondtheprophy.com. If you found value in the show, share with a friend and leave us a review. We will see you next time, BTP family.